Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Before I start my presentations, let me introduce myself. My name is Utari Zannah. Today I would like to present my proposal. The title is The Effectiveness of Using Media in Teaching Speaking about Expressions of Sympathy and Affections to the first year students of Man 1 Deli Serdang. The first one is Chapter 1, Introductions. There is a background of the problem. We use an official language in many situations, in many nations, but also influence on many different cultures in a large number of countries. It is the central language of communication in the worldwide. The development in the quality of English learning has not satisfaction. This is because of lack of several factors to support the learning and teaching approaches. Teaching and learning English implementation still has shortage of textbooks, unqualified English teachers, and also unstandardized curriculum. There are some problems that cause the students cannot speak English because the media of learning rarely used in the teaching process, and the teacher unqualified in the teaching process, so that make the students are not interested with English. So the problems are: 1. English is regarded as a difficult subject to learn. 2. The development in the quality of English learning has not satisfaction. 3. Students have a limitation of vocabulary proficiency, as well as English reading materials are not always available. 4. Lack of motivation for learning or the negative attitude towards the target language. The next slide is formulation of the problem. There are 1. How is the effectiveness of using video media in teaching speaking about using expressions of sympathy and affection to the first year students of Man 1 Deli Serdang? And 2. How is the students' achievement after using video media in teaching speaking about expressions of sympathy and affection in the class? And then the next slide is the objectives of the problem. The objective of the problem on this research are: 1. To know the effectiveness of video media in teaching speaking about expressions of sympathy and affection to the first year students of Man 1 Deli Serdang. And the second one is to know the students' achievement after using video media in teaching speaking about expressions of sympathy and affections in the class. And then next slide is the limitation of the problem. The limitation of the problem on this research is the effectiveness of using video media in teaching speaking about using expressions of sympathy and affections to the first year students of Man 1 Deli Serdang. And then the next slide is significance of the research. On this research, the significance are: 1. Theoretically, to know students' speaking ability about expressing sympathy and affections. And then the second one is to know how is students' speaking skill about expressing sympathy and affection. And then practically for the teachers, the result of this study are expected to be useful to motivate the teacher, that the teacher must be creative and innovative in using learning media to the students. And then for students, the result of this study are expected to be useful to make students more interested and motivated to improve their speaking skills. This can motivate them to increase their interest in learning English. Increased interest in learning English will help them master English well. The next slide is Chapter 2, a review of literature. Number 1 is teaching media. Media derived from the Latin medium. It can be mean as intermediary. So, media can be defined as a tool to transfer information, to study, or mediator message. Teaching media can be defined as a tool to transfer information to the learner to get messages to achieve the aim of learning. Learning media can be defined as a media that used to transfer informations or message from the teacher to the students. Number 2 is media as a teaching research. Learning process is a transferring of information processing to the students. So there are some kinds of learning sources. They are human, book or library, mass media, environment, and learning media. Learning media have an important position to education. Media as a helpful tool to have a good impact. Number 3, there are types of media. There are some kinds of media such as audio media. Audio media only focus to voice or sounds like radio, cassette, or cassette recorder. And then visual media. Visual media is a media that focus to static image or printed. This media not use sound or voice. And then audiovisual media. Audiovisual media is a media that combine between visual and audio. This media more complete than audio or visual only. Audiovisual can be like videos or movie, film from projector, and etc. Number 4, there is the definition of video. Video can be defined as a storage of visuals and their display on the television or type screen. Video can be defined as something that we can see, motion image, or record process. Number 5, the last but not least, there is the definition of speaking. Speaking is an oral language skill that is functional in everyday human life because by speaking, we can obtain and convey information. But for Indonesians, speaking fluent English is too tough challenge because we don't use English as our daily communication language. Speaking is a productive ability. Speaking cannot be separated from listening. When we speak, we create a meaningful text. In communication, we can find speakers, listeners, as well as messages and feedback. Besides that, speaking cannot be separated from pronunciation. Okay, the next slide. There is chapter 3, method of research. Number 1 is subject and object of the research. The subject of this research is the first grade students of Man 1 Deli Serdang, and then the object of the research is the effectiveness of using media video in teaching speaking about using expressions of sympathy and affection to the first year students of Man 1 Deli Serdang. And then there is a population and sample. The population of the research is all of research subject or a set or collection of all elements possessing one or more attributes of interest. The population of this research is all of students at first grade year of Man 1 Deli Serdang, or 10 IPA 1 and 10 IPA 2, consists of 60 students. And then the sample of this research is class 10 IPA 1. It is consists of 30 students. They are 15 female and 15 male. And then the method of collecting data. The researcher will use the technique using written tests, which are pre-test and post-test. This technique is aimed at knowing how is far the effectiveness of using media video in teaching speaking, about using expressions of sympathy and affections to the first year students of Man 1 Deli Serdang. And then the method of analyzing data. The technique the writer will use is quantitative analyzing in this research. The writer will use an experimental method to analyze the data from pre-test and post-test. After that, the data collected will be compared. And the writer will do twice observations. They are before doing performing experiment and then after doing performing experiment. That's all about my proposal presentation. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.